Live from Hampton, Georgia, we welcome race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we are set to rumble for yet more action here on a fantastic Monday night. Welcome to the High Tide Racing League Guardian Premier Series. It's a round number 2 for the Ohio and Indiana Roofing 200. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Derek Watson, bringing you all of racing action for this 1.56-mile quad oval. Derek, it's the older Legacy 2008 scan. High Tide Racing League has never run the newer layout, and they are looking to keep that trend going here in season number 4.
Yeah, this is, of course, a very interesting layout, Nolan, because remember, we like to compare the new Atlanta to Super Speedway racing and drafting, but old Atlanta has a lot of speed in it. So there's certainly some high-speed corners, lots of moving around, little bit of drafting in these cars still happening, but look at the schedule here. This is a beautiful schedule they crafted for Season 4, and then we have off next week for the Monday after Easter. We go to Bristol. Then you go to look at that, Darlington's on the list, Rockingham. So a lot of classic tracks coming ahead with this High Tide Guardian League, the Premier Series, happening in Season 4. I'm excited for this schedule, and of course you get to the playoffs later in the year. So this is looking to shape up to be an amazing season for the High Tide Racing League.
It sure is, and let's take down the point standings exiting the main race for the Guardian Autosport 250 last week at Daytona. Christopher Bassinger walked away with the win in that one by 200ths of a second. He now holds the points lead over Austin McGill, where it's a 3-way tie for that number 2 spot. So far, standings pretty much the race results that we had from last week, right? Nothing too out of the ordinary here, except for, of course, Bassinger taking that one extra bonus point for winning the race last week, and he is looking to follow that up with another good run this afternoon.
Yeah, and that's very likely to see happen here because these two tracks are going to race kind of the same. Obviously, not all the drafting and all the movement that you're used to at Daytona, but speed is still speed. I think where the schedule will really kind of shape up and shake out a little bit is in the next couple of races. Like I said, you got Bristol upcoming, you got Darlington upcoming. Those are difficult tracks, and I think that's where the standings will kind of start to shake up a little bit more so than probably this race. Well, lots going on in this race though, Nolan. Remember, only 43 drivers allowed in the race, and more than that tried to qualify.
46 drivers trying to qualify. Only the fastest 43 made it in. Eddie Haggy and Mike Massengill did not attempt to start qualifying laps, so they'll be having to watch this race from the sidelines. And Anthony Marshall, well, he was attempting to qualify, but he caught the wall on both laps, so he was not able to get a time on the board. So 44 drivers put down laps, only 43 of them counted, and that will leave us with a full 43-car grid here this afternoon with 3 cent packing in this one. It's part of the awesome nature about having these big fields, right? You can't have people just trying to lay back and, trying to sandbag qualifying because they want to start at the back. You got to actually properly try if you want to get in.
Yeah, you're right. That's something we talked about before the broadcast started. Really, no one can lay back here and, just be comfortable, quote unquote, right? You've had to work your way into this field, and if that continues to be, it's really going to put a lot of stress on these qualifying laps, and that's not something that we talk a lot about in league racing.
So, small grid update, as a matter of fact, here, Derek. We do have Mike Massengill actually is going to make it in. Of course, he is the sponsor lock into this race. So for the Ohio and Indiana State Roofing number 20, he is going to be making it into the show. And then Carter Phillips, Nick Osipek, and Anthony Marshall are out as well. So that is going to be that's how things are going to line up for us this afternoon. 30 seconds before we get to the main grid. These guys have just wrapped up their pre-race drivers meeting. I'm very excited to see how this one's going to pan out.
Yeah, this should be fun, and I think this is one of those tracks that maybe as time goes on, we don't race quite as often with this old layout, and so as time goes on, week by week, season by season, there'll be more drivers who are going to be caught off guard by this track and how it races, right? It's like, when we go to Rockingham, for example, that's up on the schedule in a couple weeks. There'll be a lot of drivers who may be facing Rockingham for the first time, and that really will be an advantage or disadvantage depending upon your experience level.
So checkered flag going to fall in qualifying, and we are ready to take a rundown of how everything's going to pan on out this afternoon. 135 laps ready to kick off this afternoon, and they are going to line up a little something like this. Started on pole position, then this afternoon we are going to have Jaden Hopp alongside Noah Blackwell on row number 1. Dalton Kilmer brings it up on row number 2, your defending champion, alongside Aaron Smith. Scott Shires back in row number 3 alongside Benjamin Lacey. That is Ty Marasco and John Osborne on row 4, with David Lakey and Christopher Baxter, the Daytona winner, on row number 5.
Moving back to P11's Hunter Karsten with Nicholas Coruscant back in P12. That's row 6. Row 7, P13 and 18 is Derek Paulson and Brian Dees. 17th, or excuse me, I'm ahead of myself. 15th and Easton Sikorsky with Michael Keeley in P16. That's row 8. Row 9, Cody Kinsey and Sean Williams. And in row number 10, 19th and 20th is Bob Barry and Hayden Wheeler.
From there, it's Michael Thorpe Jr. alongside Robert Lukens, Jason Greenwell in 23rd, Austin McGill in 24th, Kevin Foster 25th, James LaFlaw in 26th, Paul Satmary in 27th, Wyatt Walker in 28th, Nick Nickerson, Brad Lawson closing out the top 30.
Moving back towards the back of the field, 31st is Matt Crockett with Dustin Ping all the way back in P32. Adrian Loya and Jeremiah Hobbs back to 34th. 35th goes to Anthony Cameron with Connor Gibson back in 36th. Jonathan Campbell is 37th. Joey Neese is 38th. 39th is Conrad Whedon with Kevin Coburn, P40. And then we'll wrap it up here. 41st is going to be Thomas Mitchell. 42nd, Michael Ashmore. 43rd, Nick Osipek is starting 43rd on grid, but not on track. And then, of course, we have Mike Massengill is the last car. He is the sponsor lock.
So Osipek being bumped by Mike Massengill in this one. Anthony Marsh, of course, caught the wall in his qualifying effort. That's why he did not make it in. And then Haggy and Carter Phillips did not attempt to put down qualifying laps this afternoon. So we worked down the back straightaway. 43 cars are gridded on up. We are just about ready to go this afternoon. Jaden Hopp has proven his ability to win plenty of times and looking to take his first win of season number 4 this afternoon.
Yeah, I've been gone for a week. Of course, Austin Edstrom has an off. He's not feeling well, so get well soon, Austin. But been only gone a week, but Jaden Hopp is still dominating here as the season begins.
And well, the iRacing pace car going to take one extra lap around the Atlanta Motor Speedway this time by, as I think that's fair. Give the field an extra chance to get properly formed up. You don't want to take the extra risk here in this one, so I think, yeah, probably a wise call on that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. So we'll see how this race goes out here. I thought they were going to go green that time, of course, kind of faked me out, but I'm excited for this. Lots of new names around in Season 4 that we did not see in Season 3. My first chance to commentate these drivers, although, well, you know, I was in chat last week for the season opener Daytona. We were causing some trouble with ketchup and mustard and what Shrek is the best. And our YouTube chat got so popular that it spawned polls in the league Discord this week, Nolan. And I'm embarrassed for these guys. They do not think Shrek 2 is the best Shrek. And, man.
You were outvoted over 2-1 on that one. I don't want to hear
hard,
it.
It's hard to work in hostile conditions like this. You know that, right? It's this hard to do.
And yet you keep coming back. Is it because the racing's awesome here?
It's that, or glutton for punishment, or a little bit of both. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out. But the racing is going to be awesome here. And this time by, hopefully the pace car pulls down at Atlanta.
iRacing staying out.
Okay, you know what,
Derek? I don't know.
Stop saying that.
Because
I can see here that race control did add. Extended by 2 laps, so we're just gonna. I mean, the good news for the drivers, or bad news depending upon how you look at it, is these laps are not counting for the race. There's a minuscule amount of fuel that's being used here, but that's okay. We are not green. I want to point out, we still have not started to officially log laps. For those that are wondering. So what's going to happen here? This is just one of those like things where the time you and I think we're not going green, and we're just sitting here talking about, you know, ketchup or mustard or Shrek or socks or shoes. That's what's going to go green. We're going to, oh, whoops, sorry, missed that. Yeah, this is just a fake out process here by the group. Well, by the way, I'll spend some time here. By the way, congratulations, P3 and Dalton Kilroy. Got a new job this week. He now works at Embry-Riddle down there in Florida. And the Embry-Riddle, of course, I'm sure you know, being a flight sim fan, one of the premier flight schools across the country. So congrats to Dalton. Got a new job this week. And I think he starts next Monday. So congrats to him on that.
And will this be the time when we drop the green flag? Yes, it will be. Pace car is off. Wherever you're joining us on Monday night, it's time to go for the Ohio and Indiana State Roofing 200.
As far back as the eye can see, 2x2 down through turns 3 and 4. A beautiful battle up front here. You see it's going to be right there, Jaden Hopp on the outside, but it'll be Noah Blackwell on the inside. And Hopp will lead the first lap on the outside here, as they are quickly getting up to speeds of 185 miles an hour in these machines.
Rocking around the top side of turn numbers 1 and 2. Jaden Hopp pulls clear for the top spot. He leads the first lap to green. Double file, a little bit of 3 wide all the way back with drivers like Benjamin Lacey and Dalton Kilroy. Still very much tucked up and under a blanket. Off of turn number 4. And Hopp's got a good run going for him so far.
And this is what I talked about in the pre-race when I said, listen, old Atlanta and new Atlanta aren't that far apart, right? Look at this. I mean, we're a couple laps in, and there's still a bunch of cars tucked up under one another. There's still some drafting happening down these straightaways. That draft will help you get speed and make a pass here. So yeah, it's not new Atlanta. Maybe the draft is not as strong per se, although year by year that's slowly dissipating. But here we are. Now we're on board with one of our newest drivers, Nicholas Corcel. And he is doing a great job. You're just kind of hanging out in the bottom. And I was going to ride here into turns 1 and 2.
Meanwhile, around the top shelf, going to go Noah Blackwell. Blackwell did not race last week in Daytona, and now the rookie drives around the top side of Jaden Hopp, and he is going to pick up the lead of the race with the NJBDesigns.com number 18. So he is through to the point, and Blackwell going to start to run away.
Blackwell doing a great job. But look at that yellow car as well. That is Aaron Smith the second. He has also gotten around Jaden Hopp here. So Hopp's now back to third. In fact, under fire here by Benjamin Lacey, who I see has a new paint scheme this season. Looks like, by the way, not longer that black base with the blue lightning, and has a new car setup for himself here for season 4.
Still looks good, though, and very distinguishable for that Real Earth Films number 7 Ford Mustang off the high side. And how about Aaron Smith now trying to drive to the point? Smith also one of the drivers that missed out in last week's race, and now he's going to dive to the inside of the Yellow Vision. Number 7 is going to go to the point. You know, Smith had mentioned he wasn't sure about ditching the neon yellow. He tried something new during the duels, decided he didn't like it, and, well, he's back to the old black number on completely yellow race car. And I think if you're going to have a team like Yellow Vision, why fix what it broke, right?
Well, and of course, there's that old thing. You're not going to tell me a race car driver is superstitious, are you? Like, we change a paint scheme 1 week, we wreck out. You know what? It was paint scheme. That's what it was. That paint scheme's not lucky. That sponsor's not lucky, or whatever. You know, that new number font just didn't work out. I wasn't visible. And man, anything a driver does, superstition can be involved. Nothing from your paint scheme down to the order of operation you do things when you're getting ready to race. But look at this. They're 3 wide offset here through turns 3 and 4. They got it back to 2 wide here. Now we have a new leader coming up. Again, that's Noah Blackwell.
Benjamin Lacey tried for 3 up high, was not successful. He'll get up to the number 2 spot, and they are still back racing like we're over at Auto Club. As off the top shelf, Benjamin Lacey going to try to take away the number 2 spot from Aaron Smith. A lot of incredible side-by-side racing here. Lacey takes away number 2 down to the turn number 3. Dalton Kilroe trying to work up high as well for the Team M4D number 41.
Now, what's going to happen here, if we continue this heavy pack racing like this, tire wear is going to become a concern. A little faster, maybe some drivers who are kind of hanging out in the back and just kind of riding. You see some big gaps towards the back of the field. So tire wear could become a problem here across this first run. We're 135 laps total. We're already working lap 9. This race is moving on by, what are they, about 31 second lap time. So 2 laps a minute here at Atlanta.
And now the Season 1 champion, Benjamin Lacey, trying to go down the inside of Noah Blackwell, and that will not go his way. Blackwell maintains the run up top. A lot of drivers are being quite respectful here in the early going, and part of this can be helped by the fact that at least I'd say about a third of this grid races together in the Blazing Pedals ARCA series over on Sunday nights. And, well, they just came off of a bit of an awkward race at Talladega, or at least a race that had an awkward finish at Talladega, and they are now looking to try and see if, hey, let's have a good race this afternoon. And boy, a good race they're putting on right now.
And that's the beauty of racing leagues and iRacing, is that you sort of build this community. And the positive to that, as they're 3 wide here again, they are not wasting any time, opportunity, or space here at Atlanta. The positive is going to say about this whole racing in a league thing and building that community is you know the drivers you race against, right? You know, like Dalton Kilroe knows Jaden Hopp. He knows Ben Lacey. He knows Christopher Bassinger back in P6. And you trust how those drivers can race. You know who you can and can't go 3 wide with. You know who you could maybe bump draft at Super Speedway. You know who is a good or not a good short track racer. And that knowledge carries over, whether it's for Blazing Pedals, which you can watch here live on Green Flag TV every Sunday, whether it's for the High Tide Racing League, or any other league these guys racing together. You build that knowledge. Now, the downside of it, a little bit, is it's kind of like being stuck in a house with your family, right? Eventually, you sort of bicker for no good reason, right? You just because you just are grumpy and they're there. And so that's the positive and negative. Sometimes new blood is important to a league, and that's why I'm happy to see some of these new names up and down the ticker here. Those are new names. Boy, that 70 got almost 2 tires down to the grass here to make that pass. But the new names keep a league healthy and alive, just like they are here in the High Tide Racing. Look at that Noah Blackwell. Let's say, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Nickname, I do believe. Spicy Egg Roll. I picked that out because I picked it out because the S and the E are capitalized on that one. So yeah, Spicy Egg Roll.
All right, yeah, I think I just was trying too hard to read too much in, and I missed it. It said that. So there you go. Noah Blackwell, the Spicy Egg Roll, I guess is what we're going to call him here at Atlanta. I'm curious in the origin story of how he became the Spicy Egg Roll. I've never had a Spicy Egg Roll.
I never had any.
It's hard to believe. I was trying to say I'm willing to bet I've heard your culinary choices before. Odds are you've never had an egg roll.
Yeah, no, never had an egg roll.
Oh my goodness, we gotta. Boy, oh boy. Well, and look at this. I mean, this is again. I'm impressed. We're still too wide for the most part. There's a slow car. Who was that?
Oh, that's Paul Satmary.
That's a 24. Wow,
that right front is broke on that car. You see it sparking from the underside of the race car, and that thing has tanked the wall somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess he slapped the wall somewhere and has probably broken a toe link in that car, would be my guess, or has broken an axle or something. Maybe popped a tire because that car is not healthy. So we're probably gonna find out. I'm guessing it's gonna be through the dog leg there that he smacked the wall. Let's watch and see here.
So this is half a lap prior to when we saw him on the front straightaway.
He comes through turns 3 and 4. It's got the high lane. Nothing bad about being in the high lane here. I'm going to guess the wall just kind of closes in fast on him. Makes it through there.
Somebody behind him hit the wall as well, so it wasn't here, evidently. And he got into that wall.
Lap. I don't know.
I'd have to guess, right? And I mean, I'm trying to... I might have something.
All right, let's take a different look here and see what we can find. But...
Oh, there it is. Yep, that's it.
And look at that. No contact. The car got a little loose here. Oh, he hit the wall first. That's what happened. I told you, I thought he probably smacked the wall out of the corner. And then from there, just a bunch of more wall hits, unfortunately, for the 24. And he's already on pit road and has disconnected. That is the end of the night for the 24.
Tough break for the German, and he is going to find himself down and out early in this one. How about Benjamin Lacey trying to go the long way around Jaden Hop down low? Hop trying to battle back as we work through turn numbers 3 and 4. Now looking like he'll be able to get there, though. He'll be right up on the back bumper as we cross the start-finish line.
Yep, doing a great job as Jaden Hop, keeping that pressure on to Benjamin Lacey. They're going to pick different lanes here. And that's one of the beauties of Atlanta Motor Speedway, right? In either configuration is that this is not a single groove racetrack. You get to pick the line you are most comfortable in. You are not stuck to a line like maybe you'll see at, different iterations of Bristol or, obviously Martinsville was a good example of that where you're just sort of stuck to the bottom. Here, you can run different lanes depending upon your comfort level and make moves happen.
Starting to see as well a little bit more separation of the field, and Jaden Hop is putting the clutch in as well. I'm not sure if he's trying to save fuel or if he's working on... Whoa, Blackwell! Sideways off of turn 2 behind, and that lets Baxter get to the inside.
Now the question is, I almost wondered, did Blackwell maybe get sideways? Because if Hop is clutching the corners, he's going a little slower than the corners probably than what you're expecting. And I wonder if Blackwell maybe got surprised by the closing rate and had to stab the brakes. And when you stab the brakes in a stock car, I don't care if it's the ARCA cars, the trucks, the Xfinities, or what have you, you're going to create that little bit of wobble inside that car. So that's what I wonder here. But now look at this. Benjamin Lacey, of course, you said our season 1 champion a long time ago now, is now out to the front and trying to put a pace on this field. But you're right. I think the tires are wearing off. And we can see that in our lap times, by the way, because right now we are all running about... 7/10 of a second, or maybe a second slower than our fastest lap times.
Top of the ticker, you can see the lap times of drivers on the last lap by. We compare that to their fastest lap, and yeah, it's not even close, right? I mean, it's very noticeable, the fall off that we've seen throughout the course of this race so far. So it's one of those things that's part of old Atlanta, and the good news right now is everybody is falling off about the same pace to one another.
Yeah, so that you're right. That's still the same. If you look at the last lap times back by 31.5, 31.6, 31.5, 31.5, 31.6, 31.7. So there's really about 0.2 of a second lap by lap. In fact, the fastest driver on the track is P9, Dalton Kilrow, a 31.496 last time by. Him and Michael Thorpe, the only drivers I can find in the 31.4s last time by.
So right now running over a second a lap slower than the fastest laps that we had earlier on in the race. Up front, Benjamin Lacey still under fire from Jaden Hobb, and man, really flirting with that outside wall through turn 2, trying to carry the most amount of speed possible. You can see that car bottoming out big time as he comes off of the corner. I mean, the shower of sparks that keeps getting kicked up when that car comes off the top is immense.
Oh yeah, that will happen here at this track. You'll get big sparks and lots of action. Look at him still tightly too wide. Now what's going to happen is as these tires wear off, and we saw that too wide happening back to about 6th or 7th place, it gets really difficult for some reason in this dogleg at Atlanta. And man, look at our 3 wide still here working lap 25. Something about the way this dogleg is shaped, I think, is the lack of banking. From the cockpit view, Nolan, this dogleg looks super narrow inside the car. You would have to have a lot of confidence in what you're doing in the car, because watch it here. Now here, this is a look here. It doesn't look that wide, does it? You're down there against the grass, and you think, man, maybe there's enough of a width for a car. That's watching from David Lakey to 84 there, the Kentucky native. Other tracks, listen, you know, with Pocono and Utica, hey, I have all the space in the world, you know. Even Charlotte is sort of the same as this. It gets really narrow down. It takes a lot of confidence to park that car in this dogleg and know that you're okay being 2 wide racing.
Michael Ashmore potentially coming to pit road this time by for the number 98, and he is going to be doing just that. So now is this plan or a retirement? He is in, he has gone a lap down, and he has stayed in the car, at least for the time being, and looking like it's going to be full service for him. So potentially our first one pit stop's not far away. 3 wide again, Blackwell contact that time by with Ty Marasco, pushes the number 1 down the racetrack, and there's still 3 abreast entering turn 3.
Yeah, this has got to get sorted out here soon, and it is. But now I'm wondering, I'm hearing more calls if possible, pitting the next lap or 2. So I'm wondering if Ashmore was a bit of the trendsetter, right? Usually once that first car pits and you see the kind of times he can put down on the field, you see him kind of zoom on by you. You're like, yeah, that looks fun. I want to try that. So then down pit road you go, and it just sort of creates this trend of pit stops. So here we are, still 2 by 2. And as we'll know when pit stops are coming, because more and more cars will abandon that top lane, because it is basically impossible to pit from the top lane here at Atlanta.
Oh, and Wyatt Walker caught the outside wall that time by as well. That sends him wide to the quad oval. Kilroe going to try to have a look to the inside. 3 wide offset into turn number 1. And I believe that to be Nicholas Corcel down low. And 3 they remain through 1 and 2 for Walker, able to recover momentum and pull clear for the top side, just behind. An aggressive block up from Hayden Wheeler, trying to keep Sean Williams behind him.
I don't call that light blue, maybe that North Carolina Tar Heel blue car of Hayden Wheeler really threw a really aggressive block there down the back straight. Just trying to hold off what he can, trying to hold off that bright green machine, that lime green machine, if you will. He talked about yellow vision earlier. Man, look at that bright green machine. That's like a lime vision car in the back of the field.
That is Nick Nickerson, the number 2 car, another driver that was slated on the reserve list for the Guarded Autosports 250 last week and didn't make the show. And now, racing in full force in the second round of this season with the Ohio and Indiana Ruby 250. Contact again between Marasco and Blackwell. Now he gets up the track and takes out Darren Paulson, and that will be the first yellow flag of the night.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
it's the
7,
big one.
8 cars. Yeah, that's pretty massive for the back of the field. My word.
That looked like maybe he got loose and slid up from the bottom, just couldn't get the car pulled up in time. But a tough break early on.
Well, there'll be some winners and some losers from this yellow flag. We'll cover those in a moment. But first, let's take a look at that. Car's going to get way to the bottom. Got to touch that white line and just lost control. Just climbs the hill, makes contact with the 6. And from there, look at that. It just all breaks loose. I mean, that's the 6 car. That's Derek Paulson who got hit. And he had no idea what was coming.
Yeah, no idea. And then John Osborne, Brian Dees took a lick. I think Brian Dees may very well be done. I think Nick Nickerson managed to get that car slowed down without getting too much into it. And we are getting set for pit stops, and I would be shocked if we didn't see the entire field coming down this time.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? Obviously, the one, Michael Ashmore, he'll stay out, you would assume, because he just pitted. And he'll get, probably the lap back into the Lucky Dog style or the old way. He's 5 laps down, though. Is he still on pit road? So I know he's on pit road. I'm sorry, I take that back. He's on track. 5 laps down, though. That's more than a normal pit stop for Michael Ashmore, by the way. There's under a normal pit stop at Atlanta, you shouldn't lose more than a lap.
2 minutes in the box is what will do it. And
that's a lot.
Yeah.
You're right. 4 tires and gas up and down the field. Look at that shot from the end of pit road here. And that's the correct call. No one's going to play with that call. I started to say that as I saw Aaron Smith the second.
Beat him off pit road.
I mean, yeah, but the pit delta time is about identical. 38 seconds apiece. So I don't know. There's no weird strategy going on. Look at this again. Noah Blackwell down and up into Derek Paulson, and then down in front. I think it's Brian D's right behind him, I believe, in that Marvel car, and from there on back.
It's a tough break for many involved, and Michael Thorpe Jr. still not off to the best of starts in his season. He was hoping for more after he kind of fell short at Daytona, and he is left wanting one more week. So that's the look from the air, and holy cow, Nick. Oh, he did get hit from behind. I thought maybe he got out of that. Not so lucky. Sean Williams, though, got around it.
Yeah, certainly did. By the way, Brian Dees has called it a night. That car is parked. He is disconnected from the race server. So one more car down here. Unfortunately, watch the onboard here. Let's see what's going to happen.
So it's Sean Williams.
Watch how fast he sees all the smoke. It's going to check. Look at the RPMs are counting down on the dashboard. Counting down. You're hoping. Right now what you're doing is you're kind of holding a line and you're just kind of praying that it does that. And that everything just sort of stays open until you make it through the wreck.
So the big one on lap number 31 this afternoon. Tonight's race and the entirety of this season is brought to you by Guardian Autosports. GGA Esports is a community of like-minded individuals that assist in sim racing activities. GGA has been a proud contributor of the sim space since 2020 with a presence in Forza Motorsports, iRacing, and Assetto Corsa Competizione, with plenty of great personnel to assist you with your journey. GGA is your one-stop sim team. Visit Instagram.com/GGA_esports for more details. Green flag back in the air, this time by.
That was an interesting restart there because Aaron Smith II got a big jump. And he has got a nice lean here. There's something that's different between new and old Atlanta. I said there's not that many differences. New Atlanta, if you hit a jump like that on the field, that draft is going to just eat you up. Let's see if it does still here at the old Atlanta. But right now, Aaron Smith doing a great job. It's himself, Jaden Hopp, Michael Thorpe Jr., 1, 2, 3.
I would be a little bit worried about it, in all honesty, just because of how much the draft can impact these cars. Look at this. What is behind? Keithley gets turned, slides into the infield. Caution comes out pretty quickly on that one. Looking like a solo car spin, but it is enough for the yellow.
Well, despite it being a single car spin, you are correct about that. The problem is where it spun, right? It spun in front of the field. So watch him again here. That's Keithley up top in that dark royal blue machine with the red accents on the back of it. Just going to get barely tapped. And that's it. That's the problem right there, right? Goes in front of the field. So that justifies the caution. And you see Barney the Flagman in the foreground there waving the yellow flag. So good news for Michael Keithley. It is a caution. There's sometimes you and I have seen across different leagues where maybe that doesn't trigger the caution and Keithley would find himself in maybe the end of the lap or a lap down. But luckily for him, that's going to break his way. Now, the question will be how much damage did he do riding through all that grass and taking that bumpy path through the infield. Here's a great view of it right here. Small bump, turn him around. Not on purpose, right? Just different closing speeds. Maybe the draft up a little bit. Maybe Keithley just kind of barely lifted, make sure he got through the dog leg.
Woo, David.
Could not have fit like an index card between him and the spinning car, Keithley. Well, here's another car down pit road under this caution.
That is quite a few of our rookies, actually. Cody Kinsey is in, Nicholas Coruscant, Blackwell, and more in behind. Cody Kinsey had a pretty good run. The last race at Daytona was up at the front for much of it, and he has come down to top up on fuel and make his way to the front. We haven't really talked about too much. One of the new GGA additions to this series, Hunter Karsten, GGA Esports driver, making some good starts this season. He is up into 4th right now.
And I'll tell you why I like this pit stop call is what you're banking on. Listen, we did a long green flag run the first time, right? We were darn near close to pit stops. So that leaves confidence in the drivers that we could have another long green flag run. And who knows? You know, obviously gas mileage is a thing we're all talking about, or the drivers are talking about, because we've seen the lifting and the coasting and the clutching through the corners in the first run. So, hey, if I can get 2, 3, 4 more laps of gas in this car, that might mean something towards the end. Maybe it doesn't cut off my last pit stop, Nolan, but maybe it means my last pit stop is a 2, 3 tenths, 4 tenths of a second faster than your pit stop, and that could let me win the race off a pit road and let me be in the lead position when the checker flag flies. So I like this call. It's a gamble, right? If this continues to go yellow, then it all just sort of washes out, but that's the risk you're taking.
Quite a few of the drivers that were caught up in that big wreck have also been allowed to come down and get a lot of damage repairs. You see a lot of them exiting bottom in the foreground of your screen there. For example, Connor Gibson, of course, Derek Paulson, and more that were all collected in that opening big one. They are able to take this free chance. I'm sure they're not going to complain about getting a few more minutes of optional repairs knocked off of their timers.
Yeah, because this is a track where that all does matter, right? We're going to go some tracks soon, like Bristol in 2 weeks, where, hey, we've seen cars win there without fronts attached to their car, right? We've seen cars run really well at Bristol that are beat up and banged up and dented and everything else you can think of. But, man, here in Atlanta, every little iota of damage matters. It causes that drag, it sticks out, it slows the car down, basically puts like a parachute in the back of it. So why not try that? Well, 26 cars left on the lead lap. Right now there's a fight for the lucky dog between Hayden Wheeler, Wyatt Walker, and John Osborne as we're about to go green on lap 40.
Aaron Smith opting for the outside lane on the restart. It's a bit of an interesting call. I would think inside would still be the place to be, but evidently he thinks he's got something working for him on the top shelf. Iris Pace car's in, and once again, we go green in Hampton, Georgia. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you can jump the inside line when even second place can get clear by the time they hit turn 1.
Yeah, did a great job there, right? He's got one car right behind him. That is Hunter Karsten. And on back, you got Jaden Hopp, Thorpe Jr., Scott Shire, and more trying to make a move here. But right now, they've got a good little gap, maybe about 2 or 3 tenths of a second between second and third, but that'll close up quickly.
Off of turn 4. And looking like everything is smooth sailing this time around off of the final corner. So we're able to get a lap in, and now under 100 to go. Now the big question is, they had a pretty long green flag run to open up this race. Will we get another one like that to potentially take us into green flag pit stops? Because you were talking about they were only a few laps away before that first caution came out.
Yeah, only a few laps away. That's why I said this could build confidence. You do it again. That's why I like that all the rookies came down and put the gas in. Sometimes you have to be different than your opponent, so that strategy has to be a little radically different to be successful. And here, by the way, is Kevin Foster in the 8, currently running P8. That's a nice alignment right there of an 8 and 8. So doing a great job there.
You saw him catch the outside wall in the middle of the quad over there. A bit of a risky scenario, but the Bud Light number 8 able to take off. No, now he's going to get into Dustin Ping, and the Season 2 champion is going to be turned into the infield grass. And for the third, and a huge hit for...
Caution was out, guys.
Anthony Cameron. What the heck happened there?
I don't know. That'll be a curious question to see in the replays load up here, but boy, oh boy, Dustin Ping, let's watch the first part. You can get turned around here. Let's see why. Look towards the middle to back of your screen. Up top, I think he made contact with the wall and he maybe bounced down, and that sort of sent him through. That's the first part. Now watch this blue car in the back.
Oh, he got hit.
Oh, he got hit. Yep. Had no control. Oh. That's probably going to end Dustin Ping's day.
That's one of the Team 5 Motorsports cars there for Anthony Cameron. He saw Fossa just kind of tracked up and into the door of the 81, and kind of get a beat on who hit the 25 there. I can't quite put a finger on it, though. Was that? That was the 58 car that got into him.
Yep, and of course, right here is that hard hit.
Jeez.
25 has had no control over that. He got hit from the back, checking up for the yellow.
Yeah.
The driver behind him did not check at the same rate. And next thing you know, Anthony Cameron was along for the ride.
Yeah, definitely nothing that Cameron did wrong there. It's a terrifying crash to have happened, especially if you're Dustin Ping and you're not expecting it. Who was the 58 car is the one that hit him? That was Joey Neese.
Yeah, Joey Neese, who got involved in an incident last night early in the Blazing Titles League, and was out early. But watch this here. This would be a good shot from the back of the car here.
So you can see the smoke.
Yep.
Yellow flag right around here is where it comes out. I made a last-minute correction. I think it's a case of... I find it hard to blame any one driver for that. I think maybe what happened was he was running so close behind Cameron. He definitely saw the smoke. He heard him lift and make a quick jerk to the right to try and avoid, but obviously he can't put his own car into the wall. I think maybe what happened is Cameron was trying to slow down, and he just effectively almost brake-checked Joey Neese again, not intentionally, but...
And that's the benefit we get from slow motion replay, right? Is we can see it at a very unrealistic pace to kind of to judge every frame by frame. Say, well, if he would have, you know, shoulda kind of things. You know, it looks super simple. When you're in that moment, that's a half second, a tenth of a second reaction time response. Now, I would probably tend to agree. Once the caution's out, you know, I'm the type of driver who wants to be off the gas as soon as possible. I'm even tapping the brake when the caution comes out. But you know, that's hard to try to avoid because you don't know exactly where everyone's going to be, and all you can see was smoke, and maybe you have to get on the gas to make sure you get through it and then worry about, you know, brake checking afterwards. That's the alternate theory is, hey, let's drive through the wreck and then let's worry about getting caught up, you know, once we know the wreck is not of danger to us. So there's different alternate theories here on the track. By the way, new leader here, Hunter Karsten, Chris Bassinger 1 and 2. Where did that yellow machine go?
The answer is in 20th. No damage.
He must have pitted.
Yeah, he must have here.
He's the first car to pit it, actually. Sorry. Yeah, Aaron's for the second. First car back in 21st. Himself, Jaden Hobb, Conrad Weedham, Ben Lacey, and others pitted here on this last pit stop, or on this last car.
Splash and go, and green flag comes back out in the air this time by. And again, that inside line just has no grip off of the starts.
Well, it's just a matter of it's hard to jump. Oh, boy, they're 3 wide already. It's hard to predict that jump from the leader. And no matter if they're inside, outside, whatever, it's hard to predict everything without getting a black flag for jumping to start. And boy, they are wasting no time. They all want to be up front. They all want to go fast. And they're trying that in that 34 machine. That is Michael Thorpe Jr. on the bottom of 3 wide, trying to make this work. Oh, I talked about how wide, how tight 2 wide was to the dogleg. They just went 3 wide to the dogleg.
Sean Williams in the middle, Austin McGill up on top of the Full Throttle Motorsports crew. And McGill, oh, he's going to get checked up. Scott Shire has to slow up big time to avoid the outside wall off of turn 2. And that's going to stall out the run, and now this is a huge pack.
Yep, now this is the pack it was at the start of the race. A great job by the field checking up. Great job in the voice chat communication, by the way. Calling out the checkups, calling it out, and make sure that didn't turn into another big wreck of wall hits.
We might get one here.
That's a power slide. Oh, no contact.
That was Noah Blackwell sliding backwards through the field now as he took a pretty hefty lick into the fence. You had Adrian Loy as well go for a spin elsewhere on the racetrack, but we'll look at that once everything here has calmed down a little bit.
If it calms down here a little bit, might be the better way to say it. They're intent on being up here right now. Hunter Karsten doing a great job with Chris Bassinger, last week's winner, right behind him. And they're stoked because I think they're lined up single file 1-2. And then there's all this. And all this is good news for them because the more you single file race, or excuse me, the more you double file race, pardon me, the more you're side by side, you're not running your fastest laps, you're not running your fastest times, and you're letting that single file pull away. Oh my goodness, that time that's not Marasco, is it? Who is
No, that was Loya, the car that ended up going around, and then this was what happened on the front straightaway.
Let's find out where it's going to start right here through the dog leg. So a little bit of movement, a little bit of contact. Boy, Blackwell went from leading this race, Nolan, to having contact with Derek Paulson, to having contact with the dog leg. That is really going from the best of days to maybe, at least at best, the mediocre of days, if not the worst of days, at a very quick pace.
Well, the good news is it's a long season, so plenty of chances to recover from it. Hunter Karsten trying to hang on against Michael Thorpe Jr. was caught up in the big one about 20 laps ago. And Christopher Bassinger, the Daytona winner. You still got McGill, Hobbs, and Moore still in the fray as well. So it really does look like we're running at a track like Michigan or Auto Club and how packed up these guys are still.
Yeah, and again, I say this, I want to bring this up. Whoa, we're in the grass. Hold on, we're in the grass. We're cutting grass here at Atlanta. And good save, as the call Ethan Sikorsky just said to his competitors, surprised as I was, but that did not make much more of a ruckus. Watch this again here in the replay. Watch on the bottom of your screen. It's going to be the 34 in the bottom. Oh, it's contact right there with the red car. That's the 7.
78
and
McGill.
The 7 and the 3.
Oh, boy.
Reading numbers upside down is difficult. That is the 3, isn't it? Yeah. And that's Jeremiah Hobbs in the 3, who's got body check like a hockey fight right there. Look at that, the wheels turn. And probably realistically, had that car not stuck to his left and let him lean on it, he probably would have went around. That car sitting there on his left might have actually been what saved him after the initial contact. So I was going to come around and say, though, I think a lot of people forget, we talk about New Atlanta, we talk about the super speed. Remember, Atlanta in the 2000s was a fast racetrack that provided lots of racing. Remember, there were times at this racetrack in the mid-2000s, Nolan, that the promoters would, say, like, hey, remember that there was that promotion. If we don't get X number of lead changes in a race, your tickets are free. That's how fast lead changes occurred here at Atlanta in the 2000s. So I'm not surprised by the style of racing we're seeing today. I think a lot of times, it's just we think of it different because we all maybe have opinions on New Atlanta, and we forget old Atlanta doesn't race that different.
Did an IndyCar racer at one point back in the day, like the 90s or the 2000s?
I know they canceled the race at Texas due to G-Force. I'm not sure about Atlanta. I can Google this, so I have the power.
Yeah, I know they've run races at quite a few mile-and-a-halfs, like Kentucky, that we're all aware of. I can't recall. I think they did have a race at Atlanta once or twice. It didn't last, probably for obvious reasons, but...
yeah, they did, actually. IndyCar did hold races at Atlanta Motor Speedway from 1998 to 2001 as the Atlanta 500 Classic.
That would explain.
The last race was in 2001.
I'm willing to bet that was the race where there was a massive pileup in that series that saw... Oh, we're talking, I think, about 4 cars upside down, 3 on fire, about, 9 or 10 collected over. It was a wild scene, but it was somewhere around the late 90s and early 2000s, so right around the time period for it, at least.
Let's see, 1998, Kenny Brack, Scott Sharp, Greg Ray, and actually Greg Ray won it twice in a row. That was your 4 race winners here, right? They did race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I was unaware. I don't remember that, but you're right. I remember they canceled the race at Texas due to the G-Forces. I forgot they raced at Atlanta.
Michael Thorpe Jr. started to slip backwards as we enter the beat of this race. Our pack for the lead has kind of died off to about 12 or so cars, if you're counting the ones kind of loosely tagging onto to the tail of the side-by-side here. Then just over second back, Michael Keithley has got everybody else behind him.
Yeah, it really is just a big hornet's nest back here. People trying to get every ounce of position they can and be in position to make whatever move they can. And you see this draft is still happening. This draft is still moving people. And that's why we're seeing drivers tucked in line. And that's why those lines are typically doing a bit better then drivers who are sort of off on their own. But look at this, 1, 2, 3 deep of 2x2 racing. And we got a blinker back there. That's the 64, I believe. Now, don't break your confidence as a driver when you see someone like that blinking around. That's 84 maybe. Is that who that was? Like a 6. I think it's the 84 David Linky maybe back there.
Top 2 breaking away a second now with Carson and Shire between Passenger on back. And that's because these guys have started to go 2 and 3 wide while the top 2 have gotten linked up. They're able to start to push each other away, utilizing the very powerful draft these cars boast. While these guys are just kind of stuck in the middle, and they just can't go anywhere because they can't get single file.
Yeah, they almost like in a way, this is one of those go slower to go faster kind of moments, right? It almost might benefit you more to back out of the 3 wide, get to the back of this pack because there's some contact with the wall up there with that red machine. That is the 94. That number I do get correct. So, the 94 is Ethan Sikorsky. But this might be a case where you might want to just go backwards to go forwards, right? You might want to go back, get out of this pack, maybe get in the back of it, get in line, and go faster. Because when you're 2 or 3 wide racing in Atlanta, that's scary moments back there.
This is allowing for that second pack to start to close in as well. This is what it looks like from inside Aaron Smith's car, and I think this kind of really does put it into emphasis what you're saying, right, about how this track looks a lot tighter and a lot narrower than it actually is, especially coming off the corners as this 70 Miguel tracks up from the bottom and nearly takes them all out.
Maybe a faster speed, but just like that normal traffic jam on a Monday morning commute to work. Maybe a different speed, but that same amount of traffic is what he feels like he's facing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Lap 62 coming at you this time by for 63, nearing the halfway point in this race, and 3 wide again with the 3 of Hobbs, the 7. Oh, and look at Sikorsky hopping across the quad oval, trying to go for the pass of the grass on the number 78.
Yeah, doing a great job, everyone here. Mostly keeping us under control. Did that Connor Gibson, I believe, right there, up through the grass, and he's got it back on track. He's had a bit of a rough day, involved in a wreck earlier, and now kind of up the infield. But that infield right there, by the way, he was just driving through. Let's watch this here. He's going to get tagged by Benjamin Lacey, actually. I think.
No, by Mike Massengill.
Mike Massey, I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's not Lacey. That's Massengill. And, that's a big wiggle. Ooh, buddy. I was going to say, that infield right there, by the way, that's where they filmed the first and only season of America's Got Talent Extreme. That aired on NBC a couple years ago, where you saw people doing Daredevil on Spark now.
That's yeah. Conrad and Whedon, not having a good day.
No, that's not a good day at all. But in that show, they did big stunts, motorcycle stunts, and all the gross things that I don't like to watch. The things and arms and needles. But yeah, that's where that was filmed, right there in that infield where he just spun through. Oh, that's a big hit in the wall. That was extreme.
Yep, and that is why we now see him down and out of the race. Did not get the caution I'm sure he may have been hoping for.
Well, let me say this, though.
Oh,
wow, this is getting just... That's Jaden Hop on the bottom, by the way. And they're still 3 wide. This is still close. That's Hop on the bottom.
This is an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, this is a caution coming.
I don't know how we haven't gotten it yet. I mean, I don't know if it's just sheer luck at this point.
I mean, it is kind of luck, because we saw, of course, Gibson go through the grass. We saw another car parked down by the bottom of the corner. So it is a bit of sheer luck that it hasn't happened. Maybe some different scenarios would have caused that in this race. There's still 2 wide here. There's a car on the bottom of the track. Is that car damaged? I believe it is. Yep. Just sort of riding around, just getting laps, but with a very, very, very slow pace.
Brad Lawson, I think, caught the outside wall, entering the quad oval. So the victory fuel number 85 Camry now started to slip as he tries to get back up to pace. Thorpe, who was up at the front and fighting for second and third earlier on, along with Benjamin Lacey, they are now both slipped well back, and they're now just trying to fight to get back into the top 10 after that second pack has caught them. It's a wild scene.
Yeah, this is why people love old Atlanta. This is the kind of racing you get. And these ARCA cars provides that style of racing, right? It's not too powerful of a car for the track. It lets everyone be here involved in the race. And there's some more contact. That car just came up and said, hello, how you doing? That was 87, is that what I saw?
83, that was Greenwell to give it another hit to Brad Lawson. Now he's going to get turned, and he's going to save it, maybe. Got into it with Sikorsky. They're both going to cut into the grass, while the 88 and the 53 both going to go around to the high side. That was a fall at Michael Keithley. And that's going to break things up a little bit.
Yeah, that'll help a little bit in spreading the field out and kind of splintering the group. And you're right, that was the 83 of Jason Grimo. I miscalled the number on. But good job getting that saved up and getting going. You're right. I mean, again, your point is still valid. This is just a splattering of luck. We probably not had 2, 3, maybe 4 more cautions than what we had here. By the way, this is a different scene. Look, it's Jaden Hopp back in the field. He's back in P7. And then, of course, Hopp joined the High Time Racing League back in the middle of Season 3. And it's hard to think you can find a time where Hopp's been back in P7. He typically is at the front of the field.
Speaks of the competition that he's got this season. He's got a lot of it if he wants to really take away a win for a championship this season. But he's proven he can fight with the best of the best in this league, and he's doing so right now. Top 2, by the way, up at the head of the field have continued to stretch their legs as Hunter Carson and Scott Shire have a very comfortable gap of still over a second back to Sean Williams on down. Now, my big question, pit stops. We've been green for so long, I lost track of where we're at in terms of our pit stop window.
Well, let's take a look at that. Our leaders last pitted on lap 33. Now, we've had a couple cautions since then because our most recent pit stops, I believe, to be lap 44. And that's Dustin Ping, Bob Berry, Ty Marasco, Nick Nickerson, Aaron Smith II will be some of the people who stopped there. So there's about an 11-lap difference on pit stops. But, of course, I think there was maybe 2 cautions in between 33 and 44. So the difference will be here. It will be different if we stay green. Those cars who pitted on 44 will run longer. They will be out here at least a couple laps more and will take the lead inherently if or when we do get to green flag pit stop. But if you think they pitted on 33, that means green and yellow combined, we're just about at 40 laps since some of these cars last saw pit road. Even if the gas isn't gone, those tires are begging for help.
Especially with how hard they've been racing against each other this entire time. I mean, it's been a complete madhouse out there. You see Adrian Loya is in the pit road, Conrad Whedon, Michael Ashmore, 2 cars that are all down, and then John Osborne still sitting in pit road after he picked up some damage somewhere along the line about 5 minutes ago. Oh, we got one more. Dustin Ping into the infield, and he's going to pedal it to hang on.
Wow, look at that bump. Look how bumpy that infield is. That car got air. 2 tires, almost 4 tires off the ground. Okay, watch it here and watch it from the in-car. Bumpy. Oh, that went backwards. Sorry. I was like, what is that? That went backwards. Watch it again. It's going to make the contact with the wall, get it down to the grass, get it saved. Now look at that. Here's the key. Look at his RPMs there, by the way, Nolan. The key to saving a race car at a track like Atlanta is what he did. Get off of that gas pedal. Too many drivers, your first instinct is to lay on the gas pedal. Somehow you think more speed helps you gather that car up. That is not the case. Typically, less gas pedal helps that car stabilize, and you get back into gas later.
Coming up to 60 laps to go, this time by Lacey and Kinsey remain in lockstep and hard into the wall for Kinsey, and around goes Cody Kinsey. And that will finally bring the yellow flag out again. 360 slide gathers it up, and caution number 4 in the day.
Tires being killed there, getting checked up for that wreck.
Tough break there for Cody Kinsey, and well, pretty easy to say what happened there. Just caught the outside wall and rebounded directly across the nose of Michael Thorpe Jr.
So it seems like the race control decision-making process here has to be number of cars involved in this, right? Because watch up top here, you're going to see 2 cars already both sliding. And then he's going to make the contact, and instantly the yellow flag comes out. And look at that, Barney the flagman already has it waving by the time he gets skid on through there. But it's got to be a number of cars involved issue, right? We've seen them, of course, Dustin Ping went through the grass a moment ago. We've seen other cars spun around and no caution. So I'm guessing the decision-making process has to do with the number of cars involved in the caution.
I think location as well has something to do with it, right? We saw one driver that was down low on the racetrack. Stopped, yes, but on the apron, whereas, you know, he was sitting in the middle of the racetrack, and if the yellow flag didn't come out, that was probably going to end up being a lot bigger than it ended up being. So, yeah, still a good call to put the yellow out for that one. But
speaking of good news, Adrian Loya is going to come around the outside right there at the top of your screen. That Adrian is the lucky dog in that number 19 car. So Adrian's going to get good news here. They'll get to go around and come back around and pit and be on the lead lap. And here, everyone down pit road. Man, twice now, Nolan, we have been, I would say, inches close to pit stop starting, and a yellow flag comes out.
Might very well be the case for tonight, because we're only going to have one more pit stop window left after this caution.
Watch the cars here. See, everyone's going to get 4 tires. No one wants to be playing around here on a strategy. There's no need to take a risk here, I wouldn't think. Although, listen, I'm a risk taker. I like to experiment live. Maybe you do, actually. Now that I think about it, and I said that comment out loud, I questioned myself. Maybe this is a stop Nolan where you do take 2 tires, because this is like a live science experiment, right? In school, we did those experiments where you make the volcanoes and you make the little tornadoes and whatever science experiment you did for the science fair as a kid. I'm assuming you guys did science fairs in Canada, right? I'm assuming you guys believe in science up there. Okay, all right, got it. So you do these things right now, and you take 2 tires, because one of 2 things happens. Either A, it works, and you go, hey, that's kind of cool. I got a big advantage out of that. Or it doesn't work, and you know there's still one more pit stop left in this race, and you just correct your mistake, right? So maybe you do take the risk. No one here did, as far as I can tell. All the pit deltas are darn near identical, except for the cars who are down there for damage. Noah Blackwell, Jonathan Hobbs, Derek Paulson, Dustin Ping, Joey Neese, all getting damage repaired, but everyone else, pit delta is basically identical here. So everyone 4 tires and gas has already lined up 1 to go.
Well, we are going to line it up double file once again, and well, with racing action continuing on as per, we'll give another quick shout out to the folks that helped keep the lights on here for the High Tide Racing Garden Premier Series. Tonight's race brought to you by Ohio and Indiana Roofing. They are a premier roofing contractor and are a sister company to the Bruns Construction Empire. They specialize in commercial and industrial roofing and are committed to accommodating the unique needs of each client and offering creative solutions to meet those needs. They're a team of individuals who work for the same common goal: professionalism, quality, and service. Services include preventative maintenance, re-roof, new construction, infrared scanning, green roof solutions, metal, retrofitting, and emergency repair services, and much more. Visit oiroofing.com for more information. Once again, that is oiroofing.com. Sorry, oiroofing.com for more information. We're going to work our way off of turn number 4, and we're ready to go again.
Well, new driver up front in the bottom. That's Sean Williams. That's his first time, I believe, starting on the inside on the front row all night long. Doing a pretty decent job compared to some of the jumps we've seen. Carson's still got the jump, but Williams is not far back. Of course, he's got Christopher Bassinger, league admin, and Daytona winner right behind him. So this is not the jump Carson's had on other runs tonight.
Not the jump he's had, and he's going to be quickly run down by last week's winner, Christopher Bassinger, who is looking for the outside line. Coming down, Jaden Hawk going to catch the outside wall, slides it out, and zip back up, and now he's 3 wide with Smith and Shire ready to return 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if you had thought you had a moment to breathe earlier as a spectator or as a driver because it calmed down, that's over. We're going to be back to this crazy, chaotic, ruckus-style 2-3 wide racing for a few more laps here until it all calms down again or until something bad happens. So this is back to where we were. Looking at, there's that car up top making a great run on the outside.
And several drivers still in lockstep, and now Karsten has got to wonder if he'll be able to get the highs of breaking away by a few seconds that he had throughout the last green flag run. We have made it through the opening style of laps clean. -1 hit to the wall for Hop, but Baster making the move.
Baster's making the move up top here, wants to get a big run off the corner. And that's what will happen since he does not need to turn that car as hard out of the corner. He can carry a bit more speed through the high lanes. Right now, of course, the downside is, we all learned in science class, that the quickest way around the circle is in the inside lane. So it's a trade, but that big run of speed will typically help you. There goes Jaden Hop on by. This is going to be a great battle right here. I'm excited for this battle. Hop and Bassinger. It's the sort of the new sensation, if you will, versus one of the returning drivers in Christopher Bassinger. This should be fun to watch here for the next few laps. But they're not the only ones involved, Nolan. Carson's still there. Aaron Smith II is there. Austin McGill's up there. Thorpe is up there. This is the who's who of the High Tide Racing League.
Turning lap 84, going to 85 this next time by. Jaden Hop will not make the move. On Bassinger down into turn number 3. He is going to stay tucked up in line as we work our way out of turn number 4. 3 wide, multiple rows deep, and even Sikorsky getting real crossed up, tail of the field as well, right across the nose of the 49 of Matt Crockett.
Yeah, a bunch of racing happening in the backfield. And that's one of those points that got made on the recent Darlington broadcast on the Fox for NASCAR. I mean, Richard Petty and others advocating. This is where the racing happens, in the middle of the field. And they're right. Sometimes we don't get back here enough because there's so much happening. But watch this moment right here. There's going to be a small tap to the back bumper, I think. Looked like it was going to be. Maybe it didn't end up being that way. But here we are back racing again. That's going to be a pass 3 wide down to 49 to up to the top. That's
right there.
Get up there.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Bit of a hairy moment, but they're able to get around it.
Again, I went back to talk about community earlier and the community building of a league, and that's part of it right there. That shows right there, because if you don't trust the driver you're racing with to save that car, you tend to make more erratic moves, and that causes only to make it worse sometimes. In this moment here, we're still 2 and 3 wide racing. This is back for what, P5 or 6 in this moment. Oh, there's a car up on the wall. Got it saved though.
And that is Brad Lawson, now down to 14th place as a result of that mistake. So he is going to be dropping back, and now he'll try to gather it up and fight back through the order to try to regain his spots to a top 10.
By the way, you talking about our spot. Sir, tonight, hold on.
Sorry, Michael Lord Jr. catching the wall big, exiting the quad oval.
Yeah. That's a looking. They're all right. Well, I was going to say, of course, you did that ad read for the Highland Indiana Roofing a moment ago before this went green. You outpaced me by a mile on that ad read. I did that ad read last night for the Blazing Pedals League. One of us is a pro ad reader, one of us is not. I'll put it that way. Congrats to you for that.
Well, I might not be able to win anything on track, but at least I can win that.
You got to take your victory. You can get it. Speaking of taking a victory, look at this. Hunter Carson's wants to try to take a victory here for Chris Bassinger. They got really close, and then they sort of spread out again. And Carson's trying to do it on the inside, but as I said, the advantage that Bassinger has, he gets that big run off the top for the more speed, and now he's got a big push from Aaron Smith II. And that's going to help him. Now Smith, though, dives to the inside, wants to try to use that momentum and see if he can get around Chris Bassinger.
And not quite from the inside line. Bassinger able to get that run up top, and so is Jaden Hop. So Hop will find his way up to third, and now could be the next driver that gets around Aaron Smith to try and challenge. And that's the thing that's working well. It's a revolving door right now for the number 2 spot.
I almost think if you want to pass Bassinger right now, Nolan, what you're going to have to do is almost squeeze him up against the wall, right? You're not be clear what I said. I didn't say make him hit the wall. I said squeeze him against the wall. Notice, don't let him arc down in that corner. Don't let him get about, what, a quarter to a third of the way down the track in those corners, and see if you can stop that run and stop that momentum. Otherwise, he's probably going to do that unless you right there in that moment can get to his outside and force him to the bottom. But for the moment, Aaron Smith II is not close enough to pull off either strategy here at Atlanta.
Down the front straightaway, back in turn number 1. Jaden Hop looking low, looking low. No dice so far. He is going to be tucked back in line with Aaron Smith into the number 2 spot. So Smith now trying to attack from the inside. Basker's really got that top lane locked down, right? You're not making a pass from the outside of that 15.
No, you're not going to get outside of him. You're exactly correct about that. Don't watch Aaron Smith the second here. And through the tri-oval. Oh my gosh, look at that wiggle. That was like a goldfish in water right there, but that was. My goodness, he saved that. There's been, what, 5, 6, 7 saves. I know you do monthly the save video for Green Flag TV of impressive saves. This might go on it right here. Watch this wheel wiggle back and forth right about here.
What the heck happened?
Oh my gosh, just got bumped from behind, I think. And, oh, buddy. I'm not sure if it was Jaden Hop or someone else who got in the back of him, but.
Oh, trouble! Lukens into the infield. And how about that? He also gathers it up.
You can tell, watch, you can tell by the way this car moves. So, see, now he kind of got the benefit of riding some of that pavement there. That's a more smooth surface, but you can see the car's already slowing down there. Again, off the gas pedal. That's how you save a race car here at Atlanta. Don't get on the gas. You don't try and make big movements in the wheels. Man, look at that. That car was probably... What, 40, oh boy, 45 degrees. That car got more air than a skateboard of the X Games right there, Nolan. All the caution's out. We have a caution on track.
Caution is out. And, well, you see smoke on the front straightaway. Not sure the cause. I would reckon maybe Wyatt Walker having a hand to play in this.
Yeah, that's going to be my guess as well, is to find out that Walker may have been involved. Let's take a look now.
Yep.
It's a little bit, and that's a big spin. And a little bit of contact right there with the red and blue machine. Or the red and yellow machine.
It was Bob Berry that got into him. Not sure what started this. We kind of caught it in progress there. So let's get another look at this here. So this is slowing it down. This is coming off of turn.
Hard to think Barry's going to catch him right here is what I'm surprised by. Barry just drifted up.
Yeah.
Hit him, and then look at this. Another great save for the most part. I mean, except for that small tap right there. Yeah, it would have been for the 71. That's Wyatt Walker. You said you got that right. I mean, that's a great. I mean, it's still overall compared to what he could have done, because there's no wall there protecting him from hitting pit road. He could have been down on pit road pretty quickly. Got that car checked up and saved. Here comes the initial contact, sideways, wiggles it back this way, back that way. And then, look at that smoke. That means he was on the brakes hard. He wanted no part of getting on pit road. Well, speaking of pit road, here they are, pit stops possibly for the final time, Nolan.
Looking like we will not be getting a green flag pit stop run this afternoon. So Aaron Smith, fuel only, as he'll win the race off of pit road.
Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I said earlier about science experiments and trying things.
I don't know if now's when you want to try it.
That seems wild. Yeah, that seems like not the time to try it out, doesn't it?
Yeah, the time to try that was about, what, 60 laps ago?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Oh boy. Well, a lot of race still to go in this one, and we will take a jump back and return. It'll be the restart of Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Nolan, as we come back and we're about to restart here, sorry to cut you off a little early. We have a car in the grass. Adrian Loya is in the grass. I think he said there's a wheel disconnection, so he is well off pace. I think we're still going to go green here. But we have that. Oh boy, hit the wheel hard, and then down here.
That is where he brought it to a stop.
Back on track as we go green here. He's not towed. He's not disconnected. So that wheel must be doing okay because he's turning through the corners fine. But here we are, green flag. So this is Nick Nickerson up front, Jaden Hopp second, McGill, and others. By the way, also note, we did notice under that commercial break that Aaron Smith II has gone back on his decision and gone down pit road. He did get 4 tires, so he's in the back of the field in 27th.
I don't think he has, because it was only 8.4 seconds. That's not enough to take 4.
Maybe 2 tires, but not 4. You're right. That's not long of a stop, but here we are now in this hornet's nest. We think, hold on.
Hayden.
I think this should be a caution. This is...
Really? No yellow. All righty then. Let it race, boys.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. This is the thing that I think sometimes needs a little addressing. Is I don't know how that's not a caution. If the one car spins, if that issue with Bob Berry a moment ago is a caution, how in the holy Moses is that not a caution? But we'll address that later and get that figured out. They stay green for the moment. Let's watch the replay here.
Wheeler off got turned by Greenwell. 3 cars involved by all metrics. That should have been a yellow.
Yeah, that's boy, oh boy. Yeah.
Missed call on race control's part, I reckon, on that one.
Yeah, that's a gentle way of putting it. But out up front, Jaden Hopp has retaken lead, by the way. That didn't take long. And he is now leading Nickerson, Passenger. Oh, there's a round. Now we're bump drafting in Old Atlanta.
And you saw him. Oh, huge hit into the fence there. Multiple cars around big. And, well, caution's going to be out for this one. And we got one almost up and over as Massengill, the sponsor of the race, gets turned over almost into the infield grass. And
Massengill involved. James Efall in the 88 was involved.
I think that tops our caution or our caution from lap 31.
Yeah, it does. And I'm trying to be a new me. I'm trying not to be the critical me that I've been in the past, but boy, oh boy, like that was not an admin caution. That should have been. If that would have been a caution sooner when this first happens, maybe it's not the wreck that it is. I don't know. But watch this here on screen and see the big checkup right there. That's how that red car gets up top and smacks the wall, gets run into from the back, makes contact with the car below him. Right about here, caution could be out anytime, guys, and then maybe these cars wouldn't come barreling in, but nowhere to go. Look at that, cars everywhere on the track. They're parked sideways on the top, in the middle, on the bottom, and just a massive wreck here. Lap 97.
Tough break for many that were having some pretty good nights before this. Such is the way of racing, though, right? And Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track known for some of their bigger crashes in the NASCAR community. There you saw Mike Massengill, almost flip over in the infield.
Yeah, Bob Berry got around on the outside there. There's that yellow machine, Aaron Smith II. He'll get around. One more time, just harden that outside wall. Typically, you don't see that. I mean, of course, it was because of that big checkup we saw from the first angle. That's why, because typically you don't see cars get into that wall right there. And there's our race sponsor, 2, maybe 3, almost 4 wheels off the ground at one point. Somehow, luckily for him, he lands. Oh, there's Derek Paulson in 6. He's been hit into a couple times tonight.
How that car didn't turn over is beyond me.
Yeah. But watch this again here. Watch the white car right there. That's Hunter Karsten. Just a small checkup in the top lane and nowhere to go. Next thing you know, this calamity ensues.
One driver that got around that was the number 99 of Kevin Coburn. This is what he saw.
Let's watch from an in-car view. This will be scary. Right about now, the wreck should be starting. Smoke, 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 because that gets it checked up. You see the RPMs dropping. Decides he's going to run the bottom. That looked like the safest place to get down on that apron. And get on through it. Good job for him.
Well, that's taken out a good quarter of the field now, I think, with that incident. We are down to just 27 out of the 43 starters on the lead lap, and by my estimations, only about 30 on track in general.
Yeah, that would have made Jason Greenwell the lucky dog, by the way. That now puts the one lap down fight between Walker, Hobbs, Efall, Wheeler, Sikorsky, I think is a 5 who are fighting if there is another lucky dog.
"30 laps to go when we take the green flag. No more pit stops are in store, and I think that's not the last caution we're going to have tonight."
No, in fact, there's more pit stops in store because if we caution again, you know, you'll see people discussing tires or whatever they want to do on those pit stops, damage repair maybe. So you're right. I don't think we're done here. You know, about 29 laps to go when we go green. Hard to believe that's our last caution.
Green flag up in the air, this time by, as the pack will work their way back down to the round in towards turn number 1.
Well, Hop got a tremendous jump there. Maybe you see a hop, skip, and a leap ahead of the field right there over Lacey, over McGill, and others. But they're quickly running him down. This is not the lead other people had on that start. Maybe not the lead Carson had, because they are quickly running him down.
Lacey looking inside, no room, and he'll tuck back in line. Jaden Hop just got too much of a gap on him as we come off of turn number 4, back down the front straightaway. Hop, Lacey, Nickerson, and more under a blanket, and sure enough, called it. Caution hard into the wall for Kinsey. Paulson involved, and I think we may have had more. No, and we'll keep it to the 2.
Yeah, could hear the calls being called out across the driver radio of wrecking on the inside, and of course eventually it's going to happen right about here. Look at this 3-wide racing. A little bit of contact, and that car just came down and right in front of someone and then back up the track. Oh, you're right. Yep. There's Paulson for, I think, the 3rd time involved in a wreck, and all 3 not of his doing. He's just been an innocent victim along for the ride. And this car is going to spin down the track. Oh my gosh.
Few cars almost getting around that, or almost getting involved in that. Michael Keithley was one of them. I believe that was the 5 of John Osborne.
Who was that blue and red car that skimmed by the wreck at full speed there? That was the more impressive one, maybe. He lucked out. He just had to hope that wreck was going to stay at the top of the track. Right here. Here it is. Here's the onboard. Watch this. He hits the wall. Maybe that slows him down enough. Watch right there.
Give me another look at that one, and we'll slow this way down.
I'm not sure if this is an iRacing top 10 or not a top 10. It's a great way to avoid the wreck, but maybe not how you want to teach people to avoid the wreck and respect the caution. He's going to avoid the first car, and I don't know how he misses. Oh, that's got to be by hairs.
I think he got saved by Benedetto there.
He might be missing some paint on the right side. We still call it paint with wrap layers,
vinyl
plastic,
material, sheet metal. And that was Osborne just getting around that as well. Boy, I mean, like you say, High Tide Racing, like really making sure that our Saves of the Month video is filled up to the brim, and I think he did. I think he did hit him. Because you saw how quickly Kinsey got turned. He did clip him.
Yeah, the more we looked at it, the more I was convinced he didn't get through there as clean as I thought he did. Well, here we go. I see the top of left of your screen, 27 laps to go. And I think now it's probably more important than ever for Lacey, for Nickerson, for a Bassinger, for McGill to get that great jump here, because I suspect the long runs are over. And so it's important for you to get these big jumps, maybe get around Hop before that caution comes out again, if it comes out again. But I'm saying, I'm sorry, I believe it will. And then see if you can maybe, see if maybe you can control that lead next time by. But look at this, here's a difference. I mean, this is something you noted earlier that I was kind of surprised. Remember, Carson took the top earlier, some other drivers took the top lane restart choice earlier. Jaden Hop, bottom lane.
So Hot will remain on the inside, Lacey up on the outside. I mean, both lines could work out. You just got to really know what you're doing in either lane, right? I mean, you can get a good run from either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still unsure. I pointed them out because I wanted to show the contrast and what drivers prefer, but I'm unsure if either lane really has an advantage, right? Again, we talked earlier about other racetracks where it does matter, right? You never want to start on the outside of Martinsville, for example. Maybe you don't want to start at the outside of Bristol, depending upon how the track is laid out and the temps of the track. You know, you probably don't want to start on the outside of the Super Speedway in most cases, but here, I'm not sure how much it's really going to matter compared to those tracks.
Well, the field works off of turn number 4, and once again, we'll set to take to the green flag. Jaden Hopp has got the field of control, and he is clear by the start-finish line.
Boy, oh boy, it's getting a little hairy. You saw Lacey almost got maybe bumped back and little wiggle there through the start of this corner. Got it gathered up, and this is the biggest lead that Hop has had off a restart in a little bit now. It's about, what, 0.2 of a second. It feels bigger than that on the screen, but that's what he's facing right now. Lacey's going to try and make the move. He's clear single file. Now it's Nickerson and Bassinger fighting too hard.
And there we go.
Walk.
Oh, huge high-speed spin. We got a big crash on the front straightaway. Marasco involved, and we're still tanking a couple. And that started when Thorpe drifted up and got into the side of Brad Lawson.
Yeah, Thorpe's already apologized, said that was on me. He knows he made that mistake and got into Brad Lawson. Let's watch the replay, though, and confirm that. Looking to offset 3 wide in the middle of the field here.
How quickly the 85 is going to get turned around here when he gets hit by a tie. That just whips
and
that
back up the track.
around.
That's the scary part right there.
Yeah. And there's the 68 car getting a bit of a hit there. That was Tommy Mitchell. Connor Gibson was the driver of the Canadian Tire number 31 that had nowhere to go.
Oh. Let me go ahead and quote this interview in case we do it later. Dalton Kilroy will be disappointed in the number of cautions in this race. And the takeaway from this race is going to be, listen, we had some great runs in this race, right? We had 2 great green flag runs. But now people are desperate. Now people want every spot possible. The laps are ticking down. The cautions are eating through those laps. And you almost feel like you don't have time to be patient. And that's what's happening right here, right? It's, you know, asking a driver to be patient with 20 to go. It's like asking a dog not to bark when a mailman comes, right? It's possible to do. It's just going to happen. It's part of reality. We're going to get impatient, and we're going to try to fit a car somewhere where it doesn't fit. And as these laps tick down, now we're 23 to go. We'll probably be 20 to go or 21 to go when we go green. That desperation only kicks up higher.
And yet another driver as well, having a bad night for a second night in a row as Ty Marasco will find himself out of this race. I believe he crashed out on overtime at the Talladega race last night, did he not?
Who didn't crash out in overtime?
Right. It's a tough break, as should get the 1 to go this time.
You would think so. Yeah, we should get the 1 to go here. And again, Jaden Hopp is still going to continue to lead. Jaden Hopp might be the only driver stoked by all the caution laps, right? It's 1 less lap for them to get a run green flag style and try and pass him by. But every caution lap, of course, they can't pass him. So it's 1 more restart he gets to do. The bad news for Jaden Hopp is every restart we get, you have to think that Lacey and Nickerson, and Bassinger and McGill and these others are hopefully learning something, right? Hopefully you're banking some knowledge of when he jumps, how he jumps, whatever you want to describe that as, and they're going to hopefully keep up with him one of these times and put him under contention very fastly.
So we will have 21 to go when the green flag drops this time. While drivers like Benjamin Lacey will continue to try to battle their way back up to the field. Thorpe still situated in the number 7 spot. Season 1 champion up on the outside row. Your Daytona winner also in the top 5. Quite a few big names, both in history and as of recent, near the front.
Yep, I told you in the beginning, I thought the names would be similar due to the style of racing between these two tracks. It'll start to shake up in 2 weeks' time. We go to Bristol. Different style of racing. Probably leads to some different names up front.
Race car is off, and we are down to 24 on the lead lap as the green flag drops once more. And again, a great launch from Hop while the field spins him up behind him.
Jump there, and the field really compressed behind him. But look at that, Nickerson got to second. He quickly got ahead of Lacey and the others, and he's going to be the one who wants to try to run down this lead. But now it's Bassinger's back there, Lacey's back there, McGill, Shire, Michael Thorpe is still up there, and a couple of newer names, Crockett and Lukens up in 8th and 9th. But there were 2 almost 3 wide making contact. Up they have somewhere because caution is out.
Oh, man, Massagill again. And that'll be a day over for your sponsor lock.
Well, indeed. And by the way, I think as of the moment of caution, we had a new leader. As I heard Jaden Hop say, wow, that's unfortunate. So I think he was past the time of caution. We'll get there in a moment. But first, let's watch this wreck here. That car went way up high and tried to overcorrect and then shot it down the track into the wall through the dog leg, and it's going to come down the track. This is...
I don't think the 20 had much control in that car.
That's the hard part. I was going to say, this is the benefit of frame by frame, is you get to look at it and question every move. But in that moment, you don't know what power the 20 had, if he had any power, if he had any control of steering. But boy, you really hope he could have just held it up there against the wall and waited for the field to go. But it could be he thought he had the time, right? It could be he thought the field was by, unaware there was one more car behind him.
Let's take a look on board.
Watch this here. Up against the wall. It's off the
RPMs. Yeah, no control. You can see him trying to turn to the right, and the car just was not responding to him.
Yeah, it was not responding. Yep. It's unfortunate that this is another caution. He looks to take us down about 15 to go. Watching this yellow and pink machine here. Maybe not. We're watching a green machine. There's the smoke, and he thought this green machine has every belief to think he's good, right? The wreck's up top, that track is clear in front of you. Why would you not be clear? And then, well, not clear.
Caution number 9 on the day, and we continue to pile up the casualties. We'll be back with more on Green Flag TV. Hunter Karsten is back on the lead lap with a lucky dog. Back to Green Flag TV. 16 to go. We take to the green flag. And Derek, what do you think? Do we hit double digits with the yellow flag counter?
That seems inevitable, doesn't it? It seems like that's probably, if you were in Vegas betting, if they let you bet on the High Tide Racing League, I think the odds would be in favor of another caution, unfortunately. We'll see, though. You have to think eventually we wreck enough cars that maybe that doesn't happen, but yeah, I think, again, that aggression picks up, right? Everybody wants a spot. Everybody is trying to race hard. You know, you feel the need here. So I suspect here. But again, remember, new thing here, Nick Nickerson has chosen the inside lane. He is the leader over Jaden Hop. So now it's Nickerson, Hop, Lacey, McGill, Bassinger, your top 5 here as we go green on 16 to go.
23 cars remain on the racetrack, 27 out of the 43 on track in general. This pace car is off, green flags out, and racing action resumes.
I'll tell you what, that is a decent jump. Maybe not the jump that others had gotten from the front of the field. So Lacey and Hop have to see that as a positive sign. Of course, they're going to race hard because they want to get around the leader in case another yellow flag comes out. So that, again, that aggression is up and down the field, right? Not only do the leaders want to race hard, but maybe if you're back in P10, you want to race hard to get to P9, P8, P7 before the next yellow comes out. This is sort of a chicken and the egg scenario. But look at this. Jaden Hop now wants to lead this race, and I think that would have been close at the line.
Still driving
If
it
that
deep.
would have been the race, 1/100th of a second would have been Nick Nickerson had that been the race to the line.
And now Nick back to the inside as he's going to get the over-under of Jaden Hop. You saw Benjamin Lacey really throw a haymaker of a block down the front straightaway the last time. Look at Hop ripping the outside wall, trying to carry momentum, but Nickerson clears him off of turn 4.
Yeah, Hop was having a hard time there. He had to lift a little bit to make sure he didn't hit that wall, and that's going to allow that car to get back to possible P3. Look at this now, about 3 wide. It's Lacey in the middle. My goodness, McGill in the bottom, and they're coming together.
Careful now. Bassinger takes that one down low, and also McGill an attack for second, ends up being a defense for 5th. Meanwhile, Hop still trying to run down the driver of the number 2 car late in the game. 13 to go, and Nickerson continues to hold off the field.
Yeah, doing a great job here as this race carries on. Side by side again. So now Hop's got to get desperate. Now Hop has got to get down here, and I guess he's going to ride the bottom. He needs to use every ounce of racetrack and create as much space as possible, and he's going to. Let's get into gas as early as possible. Now, the problem with getting into gas early if you're Hop on the bottom is that car's not going to be as happy as it would be up top getting into gas early. So now he's going to try to get up top here, see maybe he can race up top behind Nickerson and see if he can find a way around up that way.
Try as he may, it's going to be a hard ass though if he wants to catch back up to the driver of the number 2 car. So he'll remain in lockstep down the back straightaway into turn 3. Looking up high again. He's going to have a great run coming off of turn number 4. Benjamin Lacey right behind him. I'd be shocked if Lacey did not try to push him up to the front so they could all try to duke it out together. There it is. Huge dive and ascent and a slide job into turn 1.
That's not going to stick. Oh, it is going to stick barely. I think that's what caused Lacey to get in the wall. He got scared that slide job wasn't going to stick. So now they're side by side. Now Nickerson will take this lead back pretty easily, I think, through the corner because Hop had to give up a lot of speed to make sure he didn't slam that wall on the outside. So officially on that lap, no lead change. We saw the lead change, but of course, officially at the line is where it counts.
And 4 wide down the front straightaway into turn number 1, deep in the field, and around goes Blackwell. No, he's going to save it deeper in the pack as well. So the drama continues elsewhere on the racetrack as they win 4 coming through the quad oval.
My goodness, that wasn't going to work. We all knew that. The way they got it saved was impressive. Now it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 cars deep, 5 cars deep single file. And they're now going to try and make a move. Lacey's going to try to get for P2. He'll try to race Hop. What he needs is for Bassinger to get behind him and provide that little bit of draft down the back straight. But I think Bassinger's not going to do that. He's going to stick to the top, and Lacey might get stuck out here.
Hop maintains the run up high, under 10 to go. Now Nickerson tries to pull the old IndyCar sweeper as he pulls across the racetrack and tries to snake across the break whatever draft he's got. But Jaden Hop going to look for that inside line. No! Smith gets dumped by Lacey! They're going to crash behind! And the yellow comes out, still sliding! Back up into traffic, and they're going to be able to lock it down. But Lacey is into pit road, and he's going to find the inside wall.
I was just about to point out Aaron Smith because I was thinking, man, where did he come from? Remember, he pitted under one of those cautions after not pitting with the field, and was surprised he was up there. Let's watch this replay again. That's Aaron Smith in the middle. And there's all. That's not even contact. That's that word. That's that net code word coming into play there.
I mean, from the angle they were at, they were probably going to go into each other regardless.
I was going to have that conversation. You and I are on the same track here. That's what I call inevitable netcode, right? Just because it wasn't contact there, likely they were headed there, right? That's the difference. We saw a wreck last week in Premier Sim Racing where Jeff Evans got turned, and it was just like about a mile between him and the car behind him. That's bad netcode. This right here, this seems inevitable. Like, just because they didn't make contact there, that's where they were headed. And they tried to save it. I thought they actually had it saved. Oh, boy. Ooh. Rallycross much? Look at that.
And then right about here is where he's going to fully lose control because the back end kicks off the ground and, yeah, just never was able to get it underneath it from there.
Green Flag TV is ever going to do a Rallycross series. There's your promotional video right there.
I want to.
Lacey going through the grass at Atlanta. Yeah, there it is. All right, well.
And he tried.
Unfortunately for Ben Lacey, he's the big loser here, pardon me.
He ends up going into the kind of the water bales. That's right at the entrance of the infield road course here. Not a lot of people know that place exists. It doesn't get too much use on iRacing.
No,
and he did catch Christopher Bassinger with him as well. And tell you what, Smith did a great job to lock that down and not make that worse for the field.
100%. Yeah, 100% did a great job there. In fact, I believe that infield road course is not scanned into the new scan of Atlanta. I don't think. I'd have to double check that. I could be wrong.
I think they use it anymore.
No, but I'm pretty sure it's usable in this version of Atlanta we're watching right now.
Yeah,
but that said, there's a lot of oval tracks that have road courses or rovals, if you will, that people, I mean, Homestead Miami Speedway has a great one. Kansas has a great one. There's one here. There's a few ovals that have them. There's no one talking. I mean, of course, we all know the Charlotte Roval now, but there was road courses at Charlotte well before the Roval. So there's a lot of these old ovals that really, they're trying to get as much use out of this property as possible. They're trying to make it, as profitable as it can be. So yeah, build a road course, right? I think at times even Talladega had a road course at one point. I'm not sure if that still exists or is in use, but a lot of these ovals have road courses. We just don't ever hear about them.
Not finding any information on their official website, by the way, about this infield road course. I'm trying to find if they still use it. I'd be fascinated if they did.
I would suspect, if anything, just local track days, maybe, like bring your car and.
So they do just that, and they have a driving academy as well. I think that utilizes it.
Could be used. I know there's a couple ovals. I don't think it's this one. There's a couple ovals that use it in courses for like police training, for like car pursuits and other things. So those road courses get different uses throughout time.
Well, fair enough. Well, we have 5 laps to go. Another yellow flag will put this race into overtime. Green flag is back in the air, and not the best of launch from Nickerson up high.
Not the best at all, man. 5 laps to go. These cars have really maybe taken the wind out of the pace of this race, but we're now here down to the nitty-gritty. We're down here into the final part of this race, and a great jump by our leader, that 2 car. He's now under attack by Michael Thorpe. There's a name that's not really been up front all night long, but he's going to find his way to the front when it matters.
He's been at the top 10, just not really in a race-winning position, but he finds himself in one now as the 34 lunging for the inside in turn number 1. Jaden Hoff gonna have to try to go into the middle. Groovy wants something to happen for him. Thorpe slides across the nose, and no! Nickerson gets taken out by Jaden Hoff. Spins across the racetrack into the outside wall, collects Scott Shire, and they're crashing more hard into the wall in turn 3. And that is overtime. Second week in a row.
Sort of a twist of fate, if you will, because last week we all thought Thorpe might have had the race won, and that late race wreck took Thorpe out of contention. Well, here Thorpe's going to benefit from a wreck he has no part in. By the way, I'm not insinuating that. I think Jaden Hopp's going to make contact with the 2 car, and then from there he spins back up the track, and there's just too many people barreling full speed. I mean, Scott Shire's in there. Other cars. Oh, there's a little bit of contact late.
Right into the concrete for Mitchell, and Scott Shire, I think, had a broken right front toe link because you saw him kind of just go straight into the wall.
Again, the problem with this wreck here, it goes up the track. That's not the common way we've seen wrecks go tonight. Typically they go down the track first, but when it happens up the track, even wrecks further back there, because people are barreling full speed down this track. You know, we all have brakes, and you know that's a common meme. Use your brakes or what have you. But you know, when you're full speed, it's hard to get that thing rolled up in time. And people are trying. Look at them. I mean, the tires are skidding, the smoke, everything, but it's just not happening.
So a 2-lap dash, and we have 3 attempts at overtime here. Now Michael Thorpe Jr. has the lead. Connor Gibson going to get a lap back as he'll go around the outside, but still remains 1 down. We still have 23 on the lead lap, but that might be lowered after this yellow flag. Thorpe with a genuine chance to get his first win of the season, but Jaden Hopp has just proven he's not afraid to get the elbows out.
The problem for Jaden Hopp could be the damage to that car, though. You don't make contact with someone like that and not end up with a little bit of body damage. That damage may slow him down on his green white checker.
What I wouldn't give to hear the drivers in their own Discord channels, what I wouldn't give to hear the conversations going on in there right now, I'd imagine there's some interesting discussions taking place.
I imagine there's some non-broadcast friendly conversation happening.
That's the fun part.
On what panel you're in, right? Yeah, that is the fun part. So look at that. Hop back in the field here. So it's going to be Thorpe, Bassinger. There's going to be Wyatt Walker. There's anything we've talked about in feels like about 100 laps. Wyatt Walker.
Sorry, has he given
an earlier incident?
Has he given any OL penalty?
Yes, he has been given an end-of-line penalty.
Does it say what for?
No, it does not say what for. Robert Lucan's also given an end-of-line penalty.
Interesting.
But yeah, so let's walk through it here. Top 10: Thorpe, Bassinger, Blackwell, Walker, Greenwell. Your top 5: Thomas Mitchell, Kevin Foster, Austin McGill, Bob Berry, and Brad Lawson in the top 10. I mean, it's more positive than negative. I think it's going to sound negative. How many wrecks must there have been if Brad Lawson's in the top 10? I thought that car was done at one point.
It was. And he fought his way back onto the lead lap.
Man, oh man. Well, here it is. As you said, we get a couple attempts to do this. Hopefully we only need one. Thorpe has chosen the outside. Thorpe wants to get that big mega run through the corners and hoping he can hold off Christopher Bassinger. Bassinger, however, wants to go 2 for 2 in Season 4.
Pace car will make its dive into pit road, and for what could be the final time, the green flag comes out. Thorpe's on the loud pedal, and Bassinger spins the tires off the launch.
Yeah, big deficit there. So unless this thing were to restart again, Bassinger likely out of contention, you would think. But let's find out. Here's Bassinger and Blackwell side by side for second, third, 3 wide in the back. We're down the back. So remember, Nolan, if we get to the white flag, all bets are off.
Coming around 3 and 4, this time by 3 wide behind, and we are going to make it back. So Michael Thorpe Jr. trying to hang on from Noah Blackwell. Blackwell and Thorpe both collected in the big one. Back on lap number 31, they have both had to fight their way through the field. Does the rookie have an answer for a series veteran? Wyatt Walker looking to pick up third. No! Blackwell takes the outside wall. That's going to cause the field to fall apart here down the back straightaway. Thorpe's able to get way out in front, and he's going to take a walk-off win this afternoon if he hangs on through 4. Crashing big time, multiple cars around. Thorpe takes the win, and it's a mess, and 1 car up and into the catch fence off of turn 4.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me Christopher Bassinger, who spun the tires in the start, still finishes 3rd? Look at that massive wreck he just survived. Unreal.
An absolutely insane finish this afternoon as Michael Thorpe Jr. is able to cruise to victory lane, and that win comes about as Noah Blackwell snapped sideways and pounded the outside wall off of turn number 2.
There's going to be a lot to review in this last lap. It's 2 different wrecks. It's the one on the back straight that really allows Thorpe to feel safe, if you will. In the second lap, well, the Chicago, Illinois native is going to ride here. Michael, I believe, a UNOH student. at times has had the UNOH student faculty watching him race. He has pulled off a win. Remember, Thorpe really has come back from a lot. Remember, he was really sick last season, missed some races, really was emotional about it, if you remember that. I mean, gave up a lot of the season and then had some PC problems, but now here he is back. Race 2, win number 1.
Considering the problems that he had early in the race with getting involved in incidents, this is not just a win. This is an announcement to say, I am back, and he is ready for war.
He is apparently ready for war. Let's go ahead and watch. In a minute, the replays will spool up, and we'll watch that last lap again. You can see all of it from basically from start to finish. Now you can see the UNOH on the back of the car. Watch this. Now this will be this is the ending.
Right
this
here.
Is that wreck right here.
Oh boy.
And somehow you're gonna see Christopher Bassinger slide through there and take third. Remember, Bassinger spun his tires on this start. Oh my gosh, and people just get barely in there. Call that reckless abandon.
I mean, hey, it was after the checkered flag, and oh, okay, so hold on. So we had something completely different happen to Jaden Hoff on the final lap of the race as well when all this was going on.
This is the back end of the race, yeah. Or the back end of that the back end of the track. I'll get the words right. But he got spun around, but that was, I think, separate from.
It was.
Watch this here, hop in the middle.
Rewind, and they come together.
This is not the battle. Oh my gosh, we were watching up front. So, boy, oh boy.
And then this was the 4 wide. And we'll get a look on board with Bassinger as well. As there is the calamity coming down to the start-finish line. Oh,
I think Bassinger just laid in it and prayed, I think. I don't think he missed the wreck. I think he just sort of leaned into the wreck. Let's watch here on board and watch here. This is going to be coming down.
Oh, boy.
That's a different one, sorry.
So he had hit the, he was one of the guys that ran into Blackwell.
Yeah, so look at this. At this point, he's got to be, think count the cars, what, 11, 12 deep, thinking, man, I've blown this race. Smoke, 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 never lifts, never lifts, never lifts, never lifts. Third place.
That is unbelievable. And one more time, we'll get a look on Matt Crockett. 49 car getting up on top of the safer barrier, and this is comes down to the start-finish line. Now watch this 49 car here as he is going to be hit up by Aaron Smith on top of Jason Greenwell, and up, dings off the catch fence and slams back down to terra firma as they come to the line.
That means about 9 guys threw away third place right there before Christopher Bassinger got to it. That's what that means. I mean, essentially,
Unbelievable.
Of course, you know, as you said, he got involved in that scuffle in the back straight, and I would have thought he was done. I mean, that's just how these races go sometimes. That's incredible.
Well, we'll take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon. Michael Thorpe Jr. comes home number 1 this afternoon ahead of Wyatt Walker by half a second. Bassinger picks up the number 3 spot. Joey Neese was in 4th. Jonathan Camp in 5th. And it's Brad Lawson, Aaron Smith, Matt Crockett, Nicholas Corsill, and Kevin Foster for the top 10.
Moving back here through P11, this is Jason Greenwell with Noah Blackwell in P12. You got Bob Berry in 13th, Thomas Mitchell 14th, Kevin Coburn in 15th, 16th Benjamin Lacey, and then Lukens and Karsten, along with McGill and Keithley, rounding out your top 20.
And moving on down through the field to 21st, it is going to be Jaden Hopp, Connor Gibson with Scott Shire, Nick Nickerson, Dustin Ping, all failing to finish this race on the lead lap. And then drivers like Kilroe, Osborne, Massagill, Lakey, and Marasco did not finish at all.
And then we'll finish up here through the field. Cody Kinsey, 31st. These are all cars 30 or more laps down. Derek Paulson, Sean Williams, Jeremiah Hubbs, James Efaw, Hayden Wheeler is back in 36. Sikorsky in 37. Adrian Loya back to had that wheel trouble back in 38. 39th is Michael Ashmore. 40th, Conrad Whelan. And then we'll finish out here. Anthony Cameron, Brian Dees, Paul Sathmary, your 43 drivers who entered this race.
Everybody else behind attempted to qualify and was not able to make the show this afternoon. A wild race this afternoon, and we'll look to give a chit-chat here first and foremost to Michael Thorpe Jr., the Chicago native that comes home number 1 this afternoon. And Michael, your first win of season number 4, and this one handed to you on a silver platter in overtime as the competition falls apart behind you.
Boy, it was. Hey, I mean, it was cautious as, but hey, overall that was a fun race.
Kind of walk us through how the offseason has gone for you in preparations for this one. We didn't get the chance to give a talk to you after last weekend, but it's good to see you finally back on top after a rough end to season 3.
Yeah, just after being in the hospital and after having PC issues, but I honestly needed a break. I've been having nothing but bad luck. You know, with top 5s and top 10s constantly, and I really needed it. Needed to win and out of something.
Well, next week, 2 weeks, is going to be Bristol Motor Speedway. Daytona didn't go your way. Atlanta, you couldn't get much of a bigger turnaround than a race win this afternoon. But what do you reckon's in store for the Coliseum?
I believe I'm actually gonna do pretty good there. TWRS actually has a lot of wins this week overall in the officials, so I got a feeling I'll be pretty solid there. I'll make sure get my teammates in check and make sure they're good and all set up for that race, and just try to keep them up in the top spot and keep them going.
Sounds like a plan. We'll look to see you when we go racing then over at Bristol in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Michael Thorpe Jr. comes home number 1 this afternoon, and well, I will pass you on down, Derek, to one of our rookies entering this season. It's Wyatt Walker.
Well, Nolan, I don't know if we want to call it a comeback or what you want to call it, but Wyatt, at one point, you were involved in a wreck, and I don't know if anyone wrote you off per se, but it's hard to believe you went from being involved in a couple incidents to second place.
Yeah, man, to be honest, I wrote it off myself. I was a lap down for, I think, almost 80 laps. I didn't get my lap back to around 110, I believe. Got caught up racing for the lucky dog with a 75. I'm not really sure what happened there. Had to go back and look, but I think we both knew we needed a spot, and it just kind of racing deal, I believe.
Well, what a crazy race, right? A couple long green flag runs. I'm going to ask you, in either one of those runs we had, the one that started the race or the one about halfway through the race, how close were you to happen to pit under green? Did we ever get that close to green flag pit stops?
Oh, that first stop, or the first run, I believe we were about 2 laps until we had to start pitting, maybe a lap, but caution came out at the right time for that. I wasn't looking forward to it, but, you know, it would have been a lot better strategy if that would have happened.
So, as Nolan said, you're one of the rookies of the league. Take a moment and tell us something fun about you. Maybe something non-racing, whether it be you build Lego sets, or you flight sim, or you foreign sim, or you play Battlefield. Tell us something fun about Wyatt Walker.
I am a world-class GM automotive technician.
There you go.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite or least favorite car to work on?
To be honest, any of them make money. I don't like working on anything unless it's a Chevrolet.
There you go. Well, Wyatt, listen, congrats. Not next week. I did it, same thing Nolan did. Not next week, 2 weeks. We get next week off for Easter. 2 weeks we go to Bristol. What's your hopes or your goals for Bristol?
Oh, got to stay alive. That track's never been good to me in any league or race I've ran. At least I got 2 weeks to try to think of a game plan. But as long as I can survive and just finish the race, I can't complain too much about that.
All right. Well, listen, it was great meeting you. Great to talk to you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all doing this.
You're very welcome. World-class GM.
Oh, boy.
Chairman Nolan is also a world-class racer here at the Speedway here, at Atlanta Motor Speedway, because he did a great job there. Let's go ahead and bring in third place, Christopher Bassinger. Chris, of course, coming back to league this season. Winner last week at Daytona. This week, you're a P3. Now, I've got to talk to you, maybe question/criticize this P3 run. You know that's not what we teach drivers to do and how to avoid a wreck, right? You know that laying on the throttle is not the way we teach them to do that, right?
You know, I might get myself a little bit in trouble here, but I was pretty pissed. Oh man, it was just phenomenal run from from what I had there. If it went caution free, maybe it's different, but I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just send it. I was like P15 or something after Noah got into the wall there, and then my car was trash. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna send it. Hopefully no penalty comes out of that. Just kind of arc braking through there. But yeah, I just congratulations to Thorpe there. I was hoping I had something for him, but that wreck got the best of me there.
Is there anyone more surprised than you that you finished P3? Like, here you are involved in an incident on the back straight and looked like you were like 12, 13, 14 cars deep coming through turn 3. Are you as surprised as anyone when you looked up and saw you were P3?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially with how that race went. I think I had like 30 incidents. It was just crazy. Like, you'd go to the corner and there's just nowhere to go. Up there at the front. And it would just get sent into you. It was like a train effect. So somebody would send it to somebody, and then it would just keep going. It was like that accordion effect. So, I feel like my car was trashed so many times, involved in so much stuff there, that net code with Aaron and Ben there. I haven't even looked at it. I don't know what happened. I'm very thankful I walked away with the P3, even though I felt like I had a car to win it. I felt, I put in the time, put in the practice. And I felt like we could have went out there and shined, but end of the day, that's just how it goes.
So, give a little behind-the-scenes peek here. I know last week after winning at Daytona, you left the post-race chat to go have ice cream. So, two questions. One,
your research.
where I'm a broadcast journalist. No, I'm really not. But two questions. One, where did you get ice cream? And two, what is Christopher Bassenger's favorite ice cream?
So I don't know if this ice cream place is like a national thing. It's called Jeremiah's. Have you guys ever heard of Jeremiah's? Jeremiah's.
Don't think
Italian
I have.
ice and gelati.
Okay. Don't ask Nolan.
Never. Okay, maybe
Nolan's not your culinary expert. He has never had an egg roll. He's not going to know what ice cream is. Don't worry about it.
He's very uncultured.
Yeah, uncultured.
Fire! Hello.
The ketchup was good on the hot dog, of course, but yeah, Jeremiah's. I don't know. Maybe. Yep. Maybe it's just an Arizona thing, but yeah, me and my girlfriend, we got the win, and we went out right after. Very stoked about that. They have something called an Oreo mud pie. It's like chocolate ice cream and then chocolate gelati, and then there's the Oreo crumbs all in there, and it has like the vanilla, that like Oreo cream. It's so good from there. Jeremiah's. Oh my god, I love it.
I'm gonna end this conversation by telling you why I hate you a little bit.
Oh dear.
I saw you on webcam last week. For someone who said he just ate an Oreo mud pie ice cream and listed all those amazing ingredients, you do not look like someone who eats a Oreo mud pie ice cream. Let's put it that way. Do you? Some of us think about Oreo mud pie ice cream, and it's like 3 pounds right there. Like, that's not fair. Not fair. Well, listen, great job in P3 tonight. Great job at Atlanta overall. 2 weeks time at Bristol. Good luck surviving Bristol.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys for all that you do for us. Big shout out to you guys, and so I give 2 shout outs. Big shout out to my team, Guardian Autosport. We win back to back. Even though it wasn't me, I'm very proud of Michael Thorpe Jr. for coming away with the win there. Austin McGill, we were working together that entire time. And then obviously Madison, my girlfriend, always in the chat, always supporting. She means the world to me, just how she supports me through everything. So no matter what it is, she's there for me. So big shout out to those people, and appreciate you guys. Big shout out to you guys as well.
Well, Nolan, he may have had Oreo mud pie ice cream last week, but he just scored major brownie points right there. That was Christopher Bassenger finishing P3.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. A fantastic race overall this afternoon. And, listen, it got a little messy at the end, right? But you and I, we were kind of expecting it. I mean, this race has been a wild one so far. And, Bristol is in 2 weeks. And the good news is drivers have a lot of time to decompress over what went down tonight. They have a lot of time to talk it over. I know Dalton Kill was already saying there's going to be quite a few things that are going to have to be looked at and reevaluated before going green. And they got the time to do it, right? They got the Easter weekend ahead of them, so they should be able to hopefully figure things out for race 3.
And I think the difference here may be a game of expectations, right? And I hope that's what the difference is in 2 weeks' time for these drivers. When you come to a place like Atlanta, you're hoping for green flag runs. You're hoping for green flag pit stops. You're hoping for maybe a long, green flag race. When we go to Bristol, if you walk into Bristol expecting that,
Good luck.
Yeah, it's fun to have, but it's an expectations game, right? That's when we all watch Bristol on TV. We're hoping for the the beats and the bangs and the wrecks and the upset tempers. So I think it's an expectation game. I think people will feel better in 2 weeks' time because the expectations should be different.
Well, before we get to that, there's still a lot coming up on Green Flag TV. Coming on up on Tuesday afternoon, the OMSRL Cup Series takes to the biggest, baddest track on the NASCAR circuit as they tackle the Talladega Super Speedway. Meanwhile, the PSR SimGim Expo Truck Series will be racing at the Rockingham Speedway alongside the Beer League over at Summit Point for the 11th season opener. Meanwhile, the Speed Cup Series takes to the streets of Chicago as they'll be racing in the Windy City. The SRA NASCAR Classic Series tentatively has the season open for the SRA Shootout, and then our Sunday programs will both be off until the next 2 weeks. So all of that and more coming on up on Green Flag TV. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Ola Remble, alongside Derek Watson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week when we go racing, 2 weeks, when we go racing at Bristol.